Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Denver Homes Market Report. This is Ricky.schoonover of Mode Real Estate. This is our 18th episode. Wow, time is flying by. I have so much fun doing my research and putting together our podcast for you. I hope you're enjoying tuning in each week and listening in. Last week, we moved out of Highlands as we had wrapped up our multi-episode series covering all the neighborhoods which make up Denver Highlands. We moved east across I-25 and along Colfax. We touched on my love affair for the nostalgia of old famous routes, which were devastated by the expansion of freeways that then led to the decay of these once very special business routes. We also looked into our wonderful neighborhood of Capitol Hill and the cool urban vibe and grit that neighborhood has to offer. I made mention of a little area just north of Cap Hill. Some would actually call it North Cap Hill, but really, if you live in the area, the locals simply refer to it as Uptown. So today, I figured we would take a deeper dive into Uptown. Where is it exactly from a general geographic sense? What does the community have to offer? And finally, we'll take a look at the current real estate market, see just how many homes are for sale in the area, and what type of homes they are, and the price range of the entire neighborhood. Let's start out with the geographic location. So, as you may have guessed, if you listened to last week's episode, Colfax makes up the southern border. Then you have East 20th along North, and Park Avenue runs a diagonal down to North Downing on the east, and just like Capitol Hill, Broadway makes up the western border. When it comes to the history of the area, it really starts with a guy named Henry Brown. No relation that I'm aware of to the famous Molly Brown. He was a carpenter and somehow laid claim to 160 acres of land. We are talking from 11th Avenue to 20th and from Broadway to Grant. Wow, that's quite a spread. So what does Henry decide to name his plot? Brown's Bluff, of course. Henry even donated the land where the Capitol is today. You know, there were some wrangling back and forth, and there were some delays in getting the Capitol building erected. Henry went to court and tried to take his donation of land back. He even took it all the way to the Supreme Court, but obviously, we know how that turned out. As for architecture, wow, Uptown will not disappoint. There have been massive efforts dating back years as preservationists tirelessly work to help preserve some of the earliest and historically significant buildings in Denver as a whole, and some particularly special buildings right here in Uptown. Speaking of stunning architecture, there are some pretty amazing churches in the area. Have you stopped to really look at the Cathedral Basilica of Immaculate Conception? Whoa, it's pretty awesome. However, there is one other church in particular. It has an amazing Gothic look. You know, I love that whole Gothic theme. Every time I walk by or ride my bike through the area, I just look up and marvel. If you have not seen Trinity Methodist Church, it is located right there at 18th and Broadway. Trinity United Methodist Church. Right there at Broadway. When you are on Broadway and you're in a car, there is so much going on, you really have to just keep your eyes on the road and stay alert. So I recommend you jump on your bike, maybe grab a beer or two at the Great Divide Brewing Company just down the street there, and take a little stroll along Broadway. Head south till you get to 18th. You can't miss it. This church was built in 1887, and it's beautiful and oddly creepy all at the same time. I mean, I'm not a religious person by nature. I'm spiritual. I do believe there are forces beyond nature that are beyond our comprehension, but I do not subscribe to any one particular sect. So I'm not even talking from a religious standpoint. I just love this building from an architectural standpoint. I've never been inside, but I'm sure it's magnificent. I just think of where we are today and the resources we had to build such a structure back in the late 1800s. It baffles my mind. Then, in its backdrop, you have the towering cash register building. It's kind of cool. From one window in my house, I can see the cash register building. In fact, if you look closely at my podcast logo, I actually went up on my roof and used my cell phone camera to snap that picture, focusing directly towards this very area. Now, of course, I'm in La Alma, Lincoln Park, so it's pretty far away. But if you look closely, you can see the cash register building in the skyline. The church is eclipsed by many of the newer, taller buildings. So if you have not spent time in North Cap Hill, or more commonly referred to simply as Uptown, it's a pretty urban area. Kind of like its neighbor to the south, Cap Hill. And yes, they do share the commonality of both Broadway, Colfax, and even North Downey. But Uptown, as you move just a little north off Colfax, it's got a vibe all its own. Dare I say, a bit more approachable. For Cap Hill, you have Colfax as the main area for retail options and entertainment venues. And yes, as you travel through Cap Hill, there are some cool little coffee shops and bars, even the Trader Joe's grocery there. But Uptown has a little surprise up its sleeve as well. As you step off Colfax and head north just a bit, you hit 17th Avenue. And you're like, what? There is a whole another really cool strip of retail with Pride and Swagger comes to mind, being one of the places. And then also maybe just a little bit further east into West City Park there, but you've got Hamburger Mary's. They have a really cool back patio and also drag bingo. They probably are not hosting a show such as that at the moment, but do what you can to support these businesses so that when we finally get beyond COVID-19, we still have these fun, quirky places to come back to. All right, well, I hope you are enjoying today's podcast. If you have not realized it yet, this is one area of town. It's one of my favorites. I love being city close. I love being able to step out my door and either jump on the bike or by foot and get to any number of retail options without having to get in my car for every single little thing. It's nice to take a morning stroll, be able to grab a cup of coffee or go out to a happy hour, having a couple of drinks and being close enough to walk where I'm not having to worry about parking or getting back in my car afterwards. Cap Hill and Uptown might just be a little too much in the city for me personally, but I do enjoy the urban vibe and that edgy grit paired with this dose of sophistication the neighborhood has to offer. You may like what you are hearing about Uptown. You may be looking for a place to call home where you can walk to a cafe or a local pub and have less reliance on a car. You may be an architectural nerd such as myself and enjoy riding your bike around checking out vintage buildings. The Razonian Hotel and the light rail are right there in the heart of Five Points, just a few blocks away. And you can also ride your bike down to Lodo. You are just a short walk or bike ride from everything Denver has to offer. So all this sounds wonderful, but at what cost? I mean, really, we need to look at what the values are in this neighborhood and where they start. So let's take a few minutes here, get into the current real estate market here in North Cap Hill or Uptown. I'm using our local MLS database here, and I see we have a total of 25 homes for sale in the neighborhood. Now, just 2 of those homes are single family, leaving the other 23 to be attached homes, such as condos, half duplexes, and townhouses. Yet the most expensive home listed, whoa, wait a minute, hold on a minute here. This week, we're going to do something just a little bit different. You see, the 2 most expensive listings in Uptown just happen to be in the same building. These are located at 1827 Grant Street. These are both condos in the Portofino condo tower. This first one is one of the penthouses. It is presented by Kentwood Real Estate City Properties. It's listed at $1,325,000. This is a pretty amazing 2-level condo with a wall of glass opening to a balcony with an amazing uninhibited view of the Capitol building. Then in the same building, and it happens to be the second most expensive listing in Uptown, we have Unit 1000. This is yet another exquisite property with amazing views. And this one is presented by Hatch Realty, LLC. This home is listed slightly less than the penthouse at $1.3 million. I won't go into all the details here in the podcast. I will tell you both are quite large. In fact, these are two of the largest condos downtown Denver has to offer. The HOAs are also on par with the amenities that you would expect. There's a pool area, a wine locker, a full-time concierge. There's even a guest suite that you can reserve for your visitors. These are very nice residents. Okay, so you're not ready to spend $1,325,000 on a penthouse or even unit number 1000 at $1.3 million. Let's find something a bit more, shall we say, approachable. How about $269,900? That might be a little more affordable and happens to be the least expensive in Cap Hill. This one's at 325 East 18th Avenue, Unit 306, presented by Remax Alliance. This is a really cool brick building with beautifully scrolled white wood trim. It's located right there at 18th and Logan. Very convenient, just being a couple blocks off Broadway. This building was built in 1910 and has been repurposed to now be Cooper Flats. This condo has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 636 square feet of living space. Remember earlier I mentioned mass transit and being a short walk away and bike ride away from everything? Well, you might want to get that bike tuned up because this particular condo does not come with a parking space. But it is a very cute place. This one has been recently updated with new flooring, appliances, etc. Great location and an approachable price at $269,900. Just to recap all this, we have condos in North Cap Hill. The most expensive are in the $1.3 million range, and then on the other end of the spectrum, we have one at $269,900. There are also 2 houses for sale. I won't go into too much detail other than to say one is a beautiful Victorian for $815,000, and that includes a mother-in-law suite. And another one, yet another Victorian, but has been converted to business use. This one is probably more valuable for the land as it has favorable zoning for mixed use, and I suspect this home is prime for an investor looking to redevelop this lot. So we have quite a lot going on in the current real estate market right here in North Cap Hill. I would love to get you more information on these properties. As I mentioned, there are 25 total to choose from, and I touched on just 5 of them. There is so much more we can discuss with your individual needs in mind. Please give me a call directly, 720-688-5110. Whether you're thinking North Cap Hill or any other neighborhood in the greater Denver area, I would love to chat with you on a more personal level as to what you may be looking for in your next home. You may currently own a home and you're thinking to yourself, why am I paying 4.5% or even higher on my interest rate? Right now, the ideal time to sell your home, which may no longer fit your needs, and buy a home at just 2.99%. That fits into your current needs and will serve you well into the future. It makes no sense to refi if in the next 5 years or less you're going to sell the home anyway. Let's go out and find your new home now. Once again, give me a call. We can go over in detail if making a move sooner than later makes sense, while the rates are so low. Again, my phone number here, 720-688-5110. This is going to be a wrap for today's 18th episode of the Denver Homes Market Report. I hope you've enjoyed listening and learning a little bit more about Uptown neighborhood or North Cap Hill. Very exciting. Please tune in next week where we'll have our monthly recap. We'll compare how the real estate market is doing this year for all of July, just as it was doing in last year, 2019, for all of July. Let's see if that trend continues. This here is once again Ricky Schoonover, Mode Real Estate. As always, stay safer at home, only go out when you need to, and please wear your mask. You can now catch the Denver Homes Market Report on just about any platform you choose to consume your podcast. Please do subscribe. That keeps me going. I love seeing all the various platforms and my subscribers, so please do that. And please tune in next week. Bye for now.